Human Trafficking, Modern-Day Slavery, created by LaCross Lambert, Ava Dageenakis, and Morgan Stone, in a group documentary.
Human trafficking has happened for generations. Africans were stolen from their homes and sold as slaves. In our day, women and children are stolen from their homes and sold yet again to the everyday citizen. Human trafficking is very similar to slavery, but there are some unique differences. For example, slavery depended mostly on men to do crop work, and now human trafficking is largely female slaves for sexual exploitation. As well as gender roles in slavery changing, human trafficking has moved largely to the internet and a website called Backpage, which you can access from anywhere in the world. Overall, human trafficking and slavery follow the same guidelines, taking humans from their own homes and selling them to whoever will buy. From the very beginning, people have always relied on slavery. Over half of our founding fathers had slaves. The Emancipation Proclamation was signed by Abraham Lincoln in 1863, and his purpose was to give slaves freedom. Many people believed after the slaves were freed, that was the end of slavery. However, they were incorrect, since human trafficking is still going on today.
The history of human trafficking is complex. Human trafficking used to be called white slave traffic, and in 1904, the International Agreement for the Suppression of White Slave Traffic was signed and put into action. This agreement protected women and children from being forced into prostitution. 23 years later, in 1927, the suppression of white slave traffic changed to traffic in women and children, so everybody was included and there is no discrimination towards race. On February 14, 2002, the Polaris Project was officially founded by Catherine Kahn and Derek Ellerman. They envisioned a society where modern slavery did not exist. Polaris Project is a non-profit organization working to stop human trafficking. Throughout the years, human trafficking has grown tremendously. And with the help of those agreements and people, hopefully one day this will come to an end.
Because most people think that human trafficking is something that is far away, but it is not. Most human trafficking cases go undetected and unknown, but there have been 36,270 cases reported to Polaris Project since 2007 in the U.S. This industry generates over $150 billion a year. Over 300,000 minors are sold into human trafficking every year in America. 98% of sex trafficking victims worldwide are women and girls. People are sold like items, starting at just $90. Buying a person is as easy as ordering a pizza. Victims can be trafficked for months, years, and sometimes never return. Human trafficking violates our most basic human rights. It is the second most common crime behind drugs, but is expected to surpass drugs in the next couple of years. An anti-trafficking activist said, "If you sell cocaine, you sell what you made. Then you have to go make more. But if you have a prostitute, you can sell her every day, 30 times a night until she's dead."
All throughout history, human trafficking has functioned so efficiently because of the buyers and sellers. The sellers are now referred to as pimps. There are two different types of pimps. The first type is called a Romeo pimp. A Romeo pimp is someone who is very charismatic, friendly, and acts like a perfect boyfriend. He slowly lures girls into the life of prostitution. Then one day, the girl will wake up and realize she's trapped and is unable to escape. The second type of pimp is called a gorilla pimp. The gorilla pimp is an aggressive guy who will just grab girls and take them. Another way girls can be pulled into human trafficking is by a girl named the bottom bitch. She is trained and trusted by the pimp and is often an older, more attractive teen who is cool. She will pretend to be the young girl's friend, and then all of a sudden the girl is being raped 20 to 30 times a day with no way of getting out.
The story of one 16-year-old girl really stuck out. This girl refused to give her pimp $200 that she earned. Then, in front of the 20 other girls he was trafficking, the pimp slit her cheeks in half as a lesson. A lesson showing how much he could hurt those girls whenever he wanted. She is one of many left with emotional and physical scars. She will never be the same again.
While interviewing Eric Bauer, a popular defense attorney in Pierce County, he shared a horrific story. It was about an average 15-year-old girl who was lured to a party by a bottom bitch. She was told there would be cool guys and alcohol, but instead there waiting for her were 5 to 6 30-year-old men. She was then raped over and over violently. This 15-year-old lost her virginity as well as her dignity that night. Once the man was done, he stood up, threw a bottle of carpet cleaner to her, and told her to clean up the blood. She was then trapped in a room and advertised on Backpage.com to be raped 10 to 20 times a night. She escaped 7 days later and is now free. This girl is traumatized for life after only 7 days. Just imagine being in that lifestyle for months, years, and even your whole life.
Backpage is a website much like Craigslist that sells women and girls. These girls are photographed in their underwear, and the photographers make sure to cover their faces so police cannot easily identify them. People can access Backpage to purchase a human from anywhere in the world. Once the one on Backpage is bought, they are taken to be raped by strangers. These strangers visit Backpage.com from the safety of their own homes and purchase a night with girls they know are being held against their will.
Human trafficking thrives today through Backpage.com because Backpage appeals to the men without any morals or dignity. Backpage has been doing this since 2004. In an interview with Eric Bauer, he shared many horrifying facts about Backpage, including,
It's important to know Backpage made in 2015, they made $154 million selling these advertisements to pimps. It's big business for them, real big business. And we're trying to get in the way of this.
Backpage is able to make this much money because, for a small price, traffickers are able to post an ad of the victims they control, and men are able to purchase these girls just as easily. Backpage has sites in almost 900 cities in the world. Many high-profile people have tried taking action to stop Backpage, but little has been done. Backpage has been to court countless times, but each time they deny any wrongdoing. Eric Bauer was the only one who was successful in taking Backpage to court and actually charging them for their crimes. While Eric was not able to fully remove the website because of the Communications Decency Act of 2030, he was able to remove many of the ads they post, stop the ads from revealing too much of the girl, and he sued them for an abundance of cash. The Communications Decency Act of 2030 protects people like Carl Ferrer, the founder of Backpage, from being prosecuted for what is posted on his site. This act was passed in 1996 to protect website owners from being held responsible for their users' posts. Human trafficking does not just affect the victims, but their families too. Of the 45 million people who are trafficked in the world, as of 2016, only 2% of them have been rescued. Families all over the world deal with the loss of loved ones due to this horrible crime. They are left wondering what they could have done to prevent this from happening. Once a person is lost to human trafficking, there is not a likely chance their family will ever see them again. In some cases, parents find their missing children on Backpage and are left hopeless knowing they can't do anything to help their kids. Some parents have tried to take down ads of their children, but Backpage has responded saying that since they do not pay for the ad, they have no authority to ask for it to be removed. Even after a family member is rescued, Backpage refuses to take down the ads.
Human trafficking has the same effects now as it did hundreds of years ago. It affects the society by impacting the family and community they left behind. Human trafficking also has a long-term effect on the women and girls. They may never feel safe again and always be afraid of physical contact. It is very hard for the girls to get back on their feet and enter the world again. Sometimes they go back into the life of being trafficked because it's the only life they know. Sex slavery is not something that is easy to recover from. This is a traumatizing crime and can lead to numerous health issues, including drug and alcohol addiction, HIV, depression, reproductive issues, anxiety, PTSD, suicidal thoughts, and many other mental health disabilities. So many people are affected by human trafficking, a crime that has no compromise. You cannot compromise people's rights and their safety. This is a problem that needs to be abolished. There are people fighting back to create awareness and make a difference. These are people like Eric Bauer and anti-trafficking foundations who provide resources to recovering victims. They inspire others to support their cause. These people know the cruelty of human trafficking and are not afraid to stand up and fight back.
45 million women and children are being treated like expendable items, things that are just there to make a profit. Human trafficking is treated like it is a faraway problem and America is above it, but millions of people are forced into human trafficking in the U.S. Our society needs to realize the severity of human trafficking, a conflict with no compromise. And we all need to ask ourselves what we can do to help end human trafficking, because slavery has only changed, not ended.
Stand up, fight back, don't take it.